Hello and welcome to Indus News live from Islamabad. I'm Jawad Tehami and these are the headlines. Pakistan says occupied Kashmir and Palestine disputes are the United Nations' most glaring and long-standing failures. Speaking on the UN's 75th anniversary via video link, Pakistan's Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi said the people of occupied Jammu and Kashmir still await the fulfillment of the UN's commitment to give them the right to self-determination. The Pakistan Army says a soldier has been martyred in cross-border fighting from Afghanistan. The military's media wing said 24-year-old Sabir Shah embraced martyrdom when an army post in the Bajor district was targeted. It said Islamabad has been consistently raising the issue of border management with Kabul to avoid the use of Afghan soil against Pakistan. Russia's deputy foreign minister says Moscow will develop military ties with Iran after a UN arms embargo expires next month. Sergei Ryabkov said US sanctions against Iran will not affect Moscow's cooperation with Tehran. This comes a day after the US slapped new sanctions on Iran's defense ministry and others involved in its nuclear program. India's coronavirus caseload has surpassed 5.5 million after registering over 75,000 infections in the past 24 hours. The country has recorded 1,053 COVID-19 deaths, taking the toll to nearly 89,000. In Pakistan, 4 people died, while 582 tested positive for the virus overnight as the country conducted the highest number of tests in a single day. Globally, the virus has infected more than 31 million people and claimed over 965,000 lives so far. Sikh pilgrims from around the world have arrived in Pakistan to observe the 481st death anniversary of Baba Guru Nanak, the founder of Sikhism. The Sikhs Managing Committee says, despite a request by Islamabad, India did not allow Sikh pilgrims to come to Pakistan to attend the event. Last year, Pakistan opened the Kartarpur corridor for Indian Sikh pilgrims as the peace gesture on the 550th birth anniversary of Baba Guru Nanak. Those are the headlines and detailed stories right after a short break. Stay tuned. Welcome back, and now for the news in detail. Pakistan says occupied Kashmir and the Palestine disputes are the United Nations' most glaring and long-standing failures. Speaking through video link on the UN's 75th anniversary, Pakistan's Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi said the people of occupied Jammu and Kashmir still await fulfillment of the UN's commitment to give them right to self-determination. Qureshi said today the UN is derided as a talk shop and its resolutions and decisions are flouted. Indian troops have martyred another civilian in occupied Jammu and Kashmir's Budgam district. The youth was targeted during a cordon and search operation in Charare-Sharif area of the district. The occupying troops have also launched such operations in Srinagar, Pulwama and Shopian districts. The occupied valley is under India's crushing curfew and communication blackout for the last 414 days. Pakistan Army says its soldier has been martyred in cross-border fighting from Afghanistan. Military's media wing, the ISPR, says 24-year-old Sabir Shah embraced martyrdom as the army's post in Bajor was targeted. It said Islamabad has been consistently raising the issue of border management with Kabul to avoid the use of Afghan soil against Pakistan. Earlier this month, the ISPR warned The violent incidents on both sides of the border are aimed at derailing the Afghan peace process. It said both the countries deserve peace and progress and will defeat all the spoilers together. Russia's deputy foreign minister says Moscow will develop military ties with Iran after a UN arms embargo expires next month. Sergei Ryabkov said US sanctions against Iran will not affect Moscow's cooperation with Tehran. This comes a day after the US slapped new sanctions on Iran's defense ministry and others involved in its nuclear program. The sanctions back a US assertion that all UN sanctions against Tehran are now restored. Iran's foreign minister Javad Zarif said the international community should oppose Washington's sanctions. Other signatories to the 2015 nuclear deal, such as France and the UK, dispute the unilateral imposition of UN sanctions on Iran. Lebanese President Michel Aoun warns the country is going to hell if a new government is not formed soon. In a televised address, Aoun said the positions of rival factions have grown harder. The president said there is no solution on the horizon on the issue of appointing a new cabinet. Aoun said his proposal of annulling sectarian quotas in main ministries has not been accepted. He said the French efforts have faltered as a week has passed after the deadline to form a government. The political deadlock came after Lebanon's previous government's mass resignation in the wake of a deadly explosion in Beirut's port. Hamas and Fatah are set to meet in Turkey today for talks on accelerating inter-Palestinian reconciliation. Hamas representative Khalil Al-Haya said the talks aim at implementing the outcomes of the earlier meetings that took place in Ramallah and Beirut. He said that Hamas is keen on achieving national unity in the hope of reaching a comprehensive national strategy. He said that the strategy to face the challenges and plots that target the Palestinian cause will be discussed in the meeting. Meanwhile, Fatah's spokesman Munir al-Jagoob said they will confer upon ending the internal rift in Palestine. Turkey has lashed out at an EU decision to sanction one of its companies for allegedly breaching a UN arms embargo on Libya. In a statement, the Turkish Foreign Ministry said the decision has no value in the eyes of Ankara. The ministry said Brussels' Irini operation is rewarding Khalifa Haftar and punishing the UN-recognized Libyan government. It said the EU overlooks those countries, including the UAE, which send weapons to Haftar in violation of UN embargo. The ministry said this is a clear signal that the European Union is biased. Earlier, the EU imposed sanctions on Turkish, Kazakh and Jordanian companies. Italy has voted to cut the size of its parliament by more than a third. Exit polls of the referendum show more than 67% of the Italians voted in favor of the change. The number of MPs in the lower house will be reduced from 634 to 400 and the country's Senate will also be downsized. The referendum was advocated by a part of the governing coalition, the Five Star Movement, to reduce the government expenditures. Five Star Movement said streamlining parliament will save the country €1 billion over the next 10 years. The changes have to be implemented before the 2023 elections in Italy. The referendum was held alongside a small number of regional elections. Russian and the Belarus military have held drills focused on protecting territorial integrity. Russian Ministry of Defense said the armed forces of both the countries took part in the exercises as part of the Slavic Brotherhood joint military drills. The ministry said drill involves around 900 troops and 100 military hardware from the Russian side. Belarus Defense Ministry said the joint drills are for counter-terrorism purposes and not directed against other countries. The Slavic Brotherhood military drills began on September the 15th and are due to run until September the 25th. The drills are happening amid mass protests in Belarus following contested August 9 presidential election. The US says it is building a coalition against Russia's Nord Stream 2 natural gas pipeline. The Nord Stream 2 will carry up to 55 billion cubic meters of gas per year from Russia to Germany. In an interview, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said Washington is working to form an alliance to stop the pipeline. Pompeo said Germany must reconsider the project due to the security implications for Europe stemming from dependence on Russian gas. The secretary said he hopes Germany will begin to see the issue. The U.S. Justice Department has threatened to revoke federal funding to 3 cities that have become the flashpoint of anti-police brutality protests. In a statement, U.S. Attorney General William Barr said the administration will not allow wasting tax money amid threats to the safety of the citizens.
Barr said New York City, Seattle and Portland, Oregon were allowing anarchy and violence on their streets. The United States Justice Department has said all 3 cities resisted federal law enforcement officials' efforts to intervene and restore order. Meanwhile, in a joint statement, the mayors of the 3 cities said withholding federal funds was illegal, accusing Washington of playing politics. Often, violent demonstration engulfed the country after the killing of unarmed black man George Floyd in police custody on the 25th of May.
In Colombia, trade unions, students and civil society members have staged protests against the social and economic policies of President Ivan Duque. The protests, organized by major worker unions, attempt to revive last year's protests after a pause imposed by the coronavirus pandemic. Nearly 5,000 Colombians showed up to take a stand against the recent incidents of police brutality and economic crisis. Protesters demanded workers' rights, better pension and health care after a government decree made it easier for employers to pay workers by hour. Protesters threw rocks at police outside the seat of the country's top court in Bogota, Central Bolivar Plaza, while police used tear gas to disperse the crowds but refrained from using violence.
I am protesting for my rights because I am tired they are not being fair with us. I am tired because we don't have a decent education. We have a lot of problems with our education and the government offers no solutions.
Demonstrators also demand an end to police brutality as over 60 massacres across Colombia have claimed over 240 lives this year only. Now moving on, all countries have come together to mark the 75th anniversary of the UN amid unprecedented times. The coronavirus pandemic and escalating tensions between the US and China raised questions regarding effectivity of the 193-member body. This report has more.
All eyes are on the 75th UN General Assembly, marking the Diamond Jubilee of the global body as the world battles extraordinarily challenging quagmires. COVID-19 has arguably exposed a dearth of leadership pandemic as the virus divided the world and brought it to its knees. As the pandemic raged, long-standing tensions between the US and China boiled, with Washington accusing Beijing of a lack of transparency. In his speech, Chinese President Xi Jinping took a swipe at Washington, saying no country should be allowed to bully the world and dominate global affairs.
UN must stand for justice, mutual respect and equality among all countries, big and small, represents the progress of our times, and it is the foremost principle of the UN Charter. All need to follow the approach of extensive consultation, joint contribution and shared benefits. All need to come together to uphold universal security, share the fruits of development and jointly decide on the future of the world.
Russia and Germany said the increasing global discord and the individual interests of member states has reduced the UN's efficiency. Meanwhile, Turkey, among several other nations, proposed a reform of the Security Council, calling out the unfair nature of veto power in hands of 5 countries. Deputy U.S. Envoy to the UN Cheryl Norman Chalet said in spite of many of its triumphs, the global body was susceptible to pressure from authoritarian regimes.
The United Nations has for too long been resistant to meaningful reform, too often lacking in transparency, and too vulnerable to the agenda of autocratic regimes and dictatorships.
The UN has long been accused of turning a blind eye to the oppression of the mighty and the plight of the weak. The long-standing issues of the Indian illegal occupation of Jammu and Kashmir and the Israeli oppression of Palestine have raised questions over the 75-year legacy of the global body.
It's time for a short break. We'll be back with more stories. Stay tuned. Welcome back. India's coronavirus caseload has surpassed 5.5 million after registering over 75,000 infections in the past 24 hours. The country has recorded 1,053 COVID-19 deaths, taking the toll to nearly 89,000. Globally, the virus has infected more than 31 million people and claimed over 964,000 lives. More in this report.
India, home to 1.3 billion people, continues to be the second worst hit country by the new coronavirus. Despite nearly 100,000 testing positive for the virus daily, the government has eased more and more restrictions, including on-train routes, domestic flights, markets, restaurants, and now visiting the Taj Mahal. Over in China, Ruili city of southwest Yunnan province has ended its strict quarantine, but with some exception.
Cinemas, internet cafes, KTVs, bars, public bathhouses, and other places of mass gathering remain closed for now. Other businesses can resume operation under the premise of strictly implementing epidemic prevention and control measures. Schools in the urban areas will resume in batches after September 26. The specific time frame is subject to the notification of the Education Department.
The second wave of the virus has forced many European governments to reconsider stricter measures. After the UK raised the virus alert level to 4, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland leaders are due to meet with Prime Minister Boris Johnson to discuss new restrictions. Spain also says imposing a broader lockdown in Madrid is on the table as coronavirus cases surge in the capital has increased pressure on hospitals.
Madrid is one of the regions that is doing the most PCR tests, more than double of many other European countries. It is in a good situation and therefore we are sure that it is detecting many cases. We cannot know how many, but we are detecting a significant number of these cases. These are very important increases in the Madrid region, and it could be partly due to that, but nonetheless, there is a real increase in transmission and we can see that incidents are still very, very high compared to the other regions, twice as much in others.
The US death toll from COVID-19 is nearing 200,000, accounting for more than 1 in 5 deaths globally. The cumulative number of confirmed infections in Latin America has surpassed 8.72 million. Argentine doctors, nurses, and other medical workers took to the streets of Buenos Aires to protest their government's decision to ease lockdown measures.
In Pakistan, 4 more people have died from COVID-19 in the last 24 hours. The health ministry says the country's death toll has reached 6,424. The ministry said 582 people tested positive for the virus overnight. It said the country conducted the highest number of tests in a single day in the past 24 hours. The ministry said Pakistan now has 7,303 active infections. It said the total confirmed cases have crossed 306,000 mark. The ministry said over 293,000 people have recovered so far. Pakistan has launched phase 3 clinical trials for a COVID-19 vaccine being manufactured by a Chinese company, CanSinoBio. Pakistan's Federal Minister for Planning, Development, Reforms and Special Initiatives, Asad Omar, made the announcement on Twitter. He said a total of 40,000 people will participate in the trial in 7 countries, of which 8 to 10,000 will be from Pakistan. He added that initial results of the trials are expected in 4 to 6 months. The country's death toll stands at 6,424, with confirmed cases crossing the 306,000 mark. Sikh pilgrims from around the world have arrived in Pakistan's Kartarpur to observe the 481st death anniversary of Baba Guru Nanak. Pakistan opened Kartarpur corridor for the Indian Sikh pilgrims as a peace gesture on the 550th birth anniversary of Baba Guru Nanak.
Guru Nanak, the founder of Sikh religion, settled in Kartarpur at the age of 55 and lived there until his death on 22nd of September 1539. A part of Pakistan since 1947, Kartarpur has been of great value for Sikh pilgrims who visit Nanak's shrine on various days of religious significance. These pilgrims have always been full of praise for Pakistan's hospitable arrangements. Taking the tradition a step further, Pakistan decided to build the Kartarpur corridor to facilitate the Sikh brethren. The corridor cuts travel, eases immigration complications and enables up to 5,000 Sikh pilgrims to visit the shrine every day. But this year, the Sikh Managing Committee says, despite a request by Islamabad, India did not allow pilgrims to come to Pakistan for the event. Contrary to India, who demolished a mosque and ordered the construction of a Hindu temple at the place, Pakistan shows utmost respect and regard to places of religious importance. The global community and Sikhs around the world hailed Kartarpur as Pakistan's peace initiative amid India's hostile acts.
In Mali, former Defense Minister Bernardo has been named as president of the country's new transition government. Colonel Assimi Goïta, the military leader who seized power last month, is appointed a vice president. The president will lead the country for a few months before staging elections and returning Mali to a civilian rule. Nado and Goïta are appointed by a group of 17 electors chosen by the military leaders. The 18-month transitional government is to be inaugurated on the 25th of September. The ruling junta has come under intense pressure from West African leaders to return power to civilians. In the U.S. state of California, the Bobcat fire in Los Angeles has burned over 106,000 acres, making it one of the largest blazes in the country. The country's fire department says the blaze around the Angeles National Forest has forced 4,000 people to evacuate. The officials say Bobcat fire has destroyed at least 29 homes. Authorities say more than 1,500 personnel are battling the fire with the help of water-dropping helicopters and retardant-dropping air tankers. They say there are at least 26 fatalities so far due to the wildfires burning across California. The fires have destroyed at least 6,400 structures across the state, while over 23,000 people are currently evacuated from their homes. More stories to follow right after a short break. Stay tuned.